Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Shaner'S Rant. It's been a while, been a few days. Been so long that all the news clips that I had saved are like almost a week old now. Oh well, I got tons of stuff to get to, and I've made a decision that my shows are too long. I watched all the analytics from where I post on 2 channels, my shows. And it's like people are not really watching the whole thing, so I gotta really condense it, do smaller episodes and probably more of them, because I've just got a lot of content to go through, and try not to meander on and get lost in my thoughts and stuff like that. Hope you all had a great long weekend. I did. It was nice and relaxing. Got a bunch of stuff done, but still managed to relax and enjoy the weather. It was hot. Holy mackerel. It was like 34 degrees Celsius with the humidity. It was sweltering. Man, oh man. Was not quite prepared for that. And then, boom, it's over and I'm dressed for fall. Right? Bring it on. That was a quick summer. Summer hasn't even started yet. Oh, well. Anyways, I'll shut up. I'll just be, everything's going good right now with my boy. So far, I have not gotten another update today, so everything is going swimmingly as far as I know until I get another update. And so kind of weird to feel normalish again, because the stress has been through the roof. I know everybody's got their problems, but man, we almost lost them. And I noticed today as I'm looking in my rear view mirror, I actually got white eyebrows now. So the last few weeks, wow, just stressed, right? But what are you gonna do? Anyways, without further ado, first video clip, let's give her. My man Pierre.
You ever been out for a run and told yourself that you were running as fast as you could?
Well, I screwed up already.
You ever been out for a run and told yourself that you were running as fast as you could?
Nope.
Nah. If you were being chased by a bear, you could run faster still. Just ask the Germans. They were being chased by a Russian bear. You see, the Germans were relying on Russian gas to power their economy, but then when Putin invaded Ukraine, they realized that was a very dangerous idea. They had to break their dependence on this aggressive neighbor, so they permitted a new LNG import terminal in just 60 days. And then they built it in the following 164 days for a total construction completion time of 194 days. From soup to nuts, the entire thing done, including a pipeline to get the energy to German markets. Good news for them, bad news for Canada, because none of that gas comes from our country. It almost entirely comes from the United States, where they can permit LNG export terminals very quickly. In Canada, it takes 14 years just to get a permit to build the thing, and then there are high carbon taxes that make it unprofitable. Now, all of these taxes and anti-development laws remain in place after a year of Mark Carney, even though he's been in power for twice as long as it took the Germans to build their new terminal. Let's sweep those things away. Get rid of the anti-development laws. Have fast 6-month permitting with no industrial carbon tax so that we can quickly approve those plants and ship Canadian gas using our enormous advantages of cold weather for cheaper liquefaction, abundant supplies, and shorter shipping distances. We just got to get running. In fact, I'm going to take my own advice and get moving faster. You should too. Because I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Sorry, my internet's crappy. I'm down the stairs and I'm away from the Wi-Fi router. A little too far. I do have a plan to try and switch things around, but just haven't got there yet. And while we're on pipelines, here's Mr. Carney.
invest in this pipeline, given the uncertainty around the separation referendum and its dependence on pathways?
Well, c'est une bonne question. Et tout d'abord, je voudrais.
Well, that's a good question. First of all, I'd like to thank you for asking a question in both official languages. Well, basically, this is a question for the private sector. But as I said when I joined Premier Smith for the press conference, overall, this agreement between Canada and Alberta shows that Canada is working where the rules are clear and predictable. We're showing that we're a country that intends to create a real carbon market.
Create a real carbon market. Are you for real? We're the only country doing it. The only one. Everybody's given up on it. Nobody gives a crap. Oh, he's still pushing this agenda. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about cleaner fuel. Everybody's giving up on it, dude.
And it shows that there's a major opportunity for low emission energy, for low cost energy.
Low cost? He's jacking up the prices on it. It's going to cost a hell of a lot more.
And with low risk, this is a reliable context.
If you look at the older...
They're asking if he would invest. Well, who knows? Probably would be. But the investors, they're scared of it. They've got this agreement with Alberta, but you still need the private sector to invest in it. And they're scared of doing it. The cost of doing business is unreal. And I've got videos to show that will give you the dollars and cents on it.
The overall picture. And I see this when I meet people in Asia, leaders in Asia, business people in Asia, on behalf of Canada. How are we viewed? We are viewed as a reliable country in a world that's anything but. We're viewed as a country that when we sign something, we honor it. We're viewed as a country that is now on the move, a country with ambition, with confidence, moving forward, a country that intends to build big. We're viewed as a country that is both an energy superpower and believes in addressing climate change. And so the ability to combine all of that is very, very attractive to Asian.
Asian markets don't give a flying fuck if we are cleaner energy
partners. Now, another component sorry, just in the translation, but of my answer, but it's fundamental to your question, is what does today's accord, our implementation agreement as it's called, what does it tell us? It's that the country works. The government of Canada, the government of Alberta coming together, challenging issues, but coming together with a common solution, a country with clear rules, predictable rules, carbon markets that's going to function, contracts for differences and other support and incentive mechanisms that are put in place, and it's moving forward. So all of that, if I were in the private sector, and I'm never going to be in the private sector again, but if I were, those are the components that get you interested, and I think there'll be a lot of interest here.
Nobody cares, dude. Just pump the shit out of the ground and send it around the world. Everybody's asking for it. The LNG, the oil, they all want it. God. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. Nobody cares. And this carbon capture, oh man, we'll get into that when the video comes up, whether it's this episode or the next one. Spending billions of dollars on catching the carbon out of the air and burying it in the ground. For what frickin' purpose? It doesn't do anything to help. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real honest with you. What was it? The other night, I watched this video, and I smoked some weed. I did. I was high as a kite. I had like 4 puffs. I think they gave me the wrong stuff. I had stuff that was way too powerful for me. And it was only because I was high as a kite that I actually understood what this man was saying with his word salad, and almost thought he was right. Almost. I'm like, this is starting to sound right, kumbaya, the world needs cleaner oil. Yeah. But we're the only ones doing it. And we're the ones that emit the least amount of carbon. Our trees clean our country. Okay, so you mean to tell me China, who needs the oil, they are really going to buy our carbon freer oil? You think they really care about the health and welfare of their citizens when they force them into labor, when they kill their citizens? You really think they're gonna buy this special oil? My God, man, give your head a shake.
Pouvez-vous être plus clair en français? Si vous étiez dans le secteur privé, vous investissez.
So if you were in this private sector, would you invest? Well, I don't know. I think I've already answered that question in French as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Brookfield's in there somewhere. Well, he's already in it. Brookfield's in it because he's in it for the carbon capture. His fingerprints are all over it. That's why he does. Look at that smile. When I invest, we're invested to the tits. But he's not in it for the oil. He's in it for the carbon captured bullshit that he's going to make money on that nobody else is. Brookfield will. Nobody else is invested in it. And while we're still in the same topic, this Hafiz Imran had something interesting to post, and I agree with it. It was kind of similar to what I was saying earlier. Adam Waterrose, executive chairman, I can't speak, let me try this again. Adam Waterrose, executive chairman of Strathcona Resources, raises an important concern. Investors need clarity and confidence before committing billions into Canada's energy sector. When a no new pipeline law remains in place, how can investors feel secure about long-term growth and market access or success? If capital keeps seeing better opportunities in the United States, Canada risks losing investment, jobs, innovation, economic strength. We need balanced policies that protect the environment. This is true, right? We do need that, while also giving industries and investors a clear path. Now, there's ways of doing these pipelines that secure the environment, but I don't think we need this carbon capture bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's extra money, tax put on like a premium put on the oil that nobody wants to pay. Like, okay, think of it this way. Say you're, I don't know, England. Let's just pick a country. And you don't have your own oil. You're going to buy it from Texas. So let's say it's $100 a barrel. You're going to buy it for $100 a barrel from Texas? Or are you going to buy it at a premium because it's cleaner for $50 per barrel from Canada? Because it's cleaner. It's better for you. Nobody gives a shit. Sorry. You might. Maybe I think it's nice. That's great. Yeah, nice and clean. Yeah, we can breathe better. The world does not give two shits. Drive your EVs. Think you're doing something great, and God bless you. That's great. I'm not going to put you down for it. But the rest of us don't care. Okay, so here's the next video. So the carbon price will increase to $130 per ton. What is it now? $100? I forget. So this was CBC, as you can see, if you're watching, if you're listening, this is the CBC Rosemary Farton. I can't stand the woman. Hey, who can? I don't know why they keep her on, but she just keeps shilling for the Liberals. But she's got this guy on who, I don't know, the Strathcona guy. And, he's involved in carbon capture and stuff too, but he's wondering who the hell is really interested in this. Anyways, I'll shut up. Let's give them a listen. I'll try not to make fun of her, but I can't stand how she stutters. Okay, I made fun of her.
What did you make of that industrial carbon pricing that they've agreed to?
I'd say it's a good news, bad news story. The good news is because they've reached an agreement, really the Prime Minister has pivoted Liberal policy, which for the previous 10 years hadn't been very supportive of the oil industry, to really embrace making Canada an energy superpower. And what that would lead to with embracing Premier Smith's vision of doubling oil production, so I think from about 5 million barrels a day to 10 million barrels a day. And to give your viewers a quick perspective on that, that's going to make close to double the GDP of Canada over 10 years. I mean, that's about 4 points to the growth rate. So it's quite transformational. So that's super positive. The challenge, really, if that's the good news, kind of the bad news is the party that was not at the table to try and implement this, of course, were investors. I mean, the province was there, the federal government was there, but the investors weren't there. And so the investors were really the audience for on Friday. And if you're an investor, what you heard is a couple of things. First of all, Prime Minister Carney saying that the MOU has effectively increased the carbon price 6.5 times. That's a real attention getter. Now, of course,
Did you hear that? The carbon price, 6.5 times from what it was. And they don't have investors yet, which they need to get this done. And it is still an MOU. This is an agreement of understanding. This is not guaranteed because there's nobody to do it. The government is not going to do it. The private sector needs to do it. They laid out what the parameters are and what needs to be followed. Now it's up to Joe Blow millionaire oil baron to step up and make this happen. At 6 times the price. How are they going to make profit? They got to invest billions of dollars to do it. They got to pump it out. They got to refine it, and they got to ship it at a premium, 6 times the price. Now, I'm not great at math, but that doesn't sound like a great deal. So, like, they've got this agreement that of understanding that this could begin a year from now. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen unless investors invest their money. What, they expect our tax dollars to go into it? Possibly. And if so, what do we get back out of it? The GDP will double over 4 years. How does that help us? It helps the country, yes, but how does that help us get our money back? I don't know what the return is. I don't know how to calculate that. That's not my department. I'm just asking. So, like I said, there's no investors. They're sitting there going, okay. So this is the rules that we got to deal with. This is what they agreed to. And they still haven't figured out what they're doing with the natives. Is there going to be a veto? They still haven't figured that out. But this is an understanding. This is not guaranteed. Boing, this is going to happen.
Premier said, hey, it could have been a lot worse because originally the Liberal policy was to actually increase it 8.5 times. Okay, so it depends on your cup half full or cup half empty. But of course, if you're an investor, they look at it on a global basis and relative to other places. And as some of your viewers may know, Canada is the only country of the 10 major oil producers that has an industrial carbon tax. So if you're an investor, you're sitting in New York and you're thinking, hey, do I want to give the oil industry some more money? You heard, geez, this is the only place with a carbon tax, and they just increased it 6.5 times.
Did you hear that? We're the only ones out of 10 countries that produce oil. We're the only ones with a carbon tax to start off with, and we just increased it 6 times for this production increase. Holy shit. Who wants to jump into that game? Oh, God. I'll buy that for $1. What's your baby?
Right. Ooh, that's a pretty tough message to hear, as you can appreciate. So that's kind of the first and dominant reaction on carbon pricing.
Do you think though, Adam? Sorry, do you think though that this opens up the possibility for a private proponent for a pipeline? Because it definitely was clear that there is an interest in a new pipeline, both by Premier Smith and the Prime Minister.
So again, that's very encouraging. It's nice to have a date, September 2027, to sort of get this project started. So that was definitely encouraging. Again, the challenge on that was it's still pretty murky about how it's going to get to the point of actual project approval. Part of the reason being is some of the legislation that is centered around, or that were hurdles, for instance, Bill C-69, the so-called No More Pipelines bill, is still in place. So if you're if you're the private sector and you're thinking about trying to build this, say, geez, and because remember, I already said there's 2 challenges. One is just getting approval for a pipe, but 2 is to fill a 1 million barrel a day pipeline, there's going to be a lot of projects that's going to be required to be approved to be able to actually fill it. So I would say it still be to be determined as to whether or not the plausibility of actually getting a pipeline filled remains to be seen.
The carbon capture technology is something industry has been talking about for a long time, something you've been investing in for a long time. Do you think that it is now going to happen, that this big project is going to happen?
I think it's positive that there have been steps to try to encourage it. But I quickly would say part of the challenge is you have two different parties in this agreement who have different views on how the market works. On the one hand, you have Prime Minister Carney, who actually believes that decarbonized oil, the result of carbon capture and storage, will sell at a premium in the world market, and that's going to help pay for carbon capture and storage, also help pay for the carbon tax. Industry has a different view, that they have not seen evidence that actually buyers will pay a premium for decarbonized oil. Now,
like I said earlier, nobody's going to buy this shit. So you got your investors looking at this. This is not going to happen, folks. It'd be a bloody miracle if this happens. The only way this is going to happen is if Carney changes his mind and gets rid of the carbon tax, which is not going to happen, or you get Polyev in and he axes the taxes on all this stuff. It's not going to happen. I'd be very shocked if anything happens at all. I mean, like, maybe they start digging by 2028, and hopefully Polyev gets in, or somebody from Conservatives gets in by 2029 or whatever the next election is, and they get rid of C-69 altogether. Like, it's not going to happen. Nobody wants to invest in this mess, and no other country wants to pay premium oil just because it's special oil. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. So all this time of pushing and pushing for new pipelines and more oil and everything, and the world is begging us for it. They want it. They want it from us. And we can give it to them. And we can build more pipelines than just this one. Build, build, build. Let the private sector go at it. Put 10 fucking pipelines in. I don't care. Do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. Not with the car. It's bad enough that there was a carbon tax to begin with, but now they're going to increase it 6 times. This guy's, if you're listening to what this guy is saying at all, with a brain, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. Nobody's going to pay for this shit.
Lots of times you can reach an agreement with two different parties. We can reach agreement. One's kind of optimistic, one's kind of pessimistic about the future, and they structure around that. But I would say this is a fairly different fundamental view on how things get paid for. Mm-hmm. Now, if the Prime Minister says, "Geez, I'm super confident in this," because based on the people that he's talked to, he might be prepared to sort of take that risk.
Right.
So I would emphasize, lots of times you could have parties with different perspectives and still structure around that. But I would emphasize this is a fundamental different view of the future.
Let me just end on this. You talked about optimism and pessimism. Are you optimistic now about the future of the energy sector, of the oil industry in this country? So I'm definitely maybe a cup half full person. So I just generally have an optimistic perspective. I really would emphasize the fact that the Prime Minister wants to make Canada an energy superpower. That's 2 thumbs up. I think that
Right now, I would just caution your viewers, we are 2/3 the way through to reaching an agreement. There's two parties. There's another party, which is basically the investment community. And that they're going to be very conscious of what their investment alternatives. And right now, the investment alternatives for many of them look better in the United States.
Okay, Adam Watrous, you're always good to speak with. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
And we're back. So the guy's basically saying it flat out. The investors are going to look south. Like, Carney's doing this to make himself look good, I think. Yeah, we're going to be a superpower. Yeah, we're going to do it this way, and low carbon, and raise the taxes 6 times, and everybody's going to want this clean oil. No, they fucking won't. They're going to go to the U.S., and they're going to help the U.S. They're going to invest anywhere else but Canada. So close, just so close. Carbon capture. Bullshit. And we're back. I'm sorry, everybody, for my potty mouth today. I've been really bad. Well, I've been good all day until doing this show, and I got all pissed off again. That gives me something to pray about. Oh, man, just potty mouth today. I've been doing so good on my swearing lately, too. Oh, well, I'll try better, but anyways. Let's end this episode with a little bit of Mr. Roperville. It's the Ropers. All right. We'll just do a couple of jokes and end this episode. Yeah, this one was a good one. This made me laugh out loud. All right. A police officer came to my house and asked me where I was between 5 and 6. He seemed irritated when I answered kindergarten. They go back there. Oh, nap time and finger painting. That was great. All right, one more. Did you hear about the bus full of Elvis impersonators that crashed on the way to Las Vegas? Nobody was hurt, but they were all shook up. Oh, okay, hold on. One sucked. Let's redeem ourselves. One more. I think it's a great idea to wear 2 different deodorants, one under each armpit. But that's just my 2 cents. Technical glitch. Anyways, I'm having another technical glitch here. Shit. All my computers are acting up everywhere today. Oh my goodness. Let's put this on pause for a second while I fix this. Speaking of praying, you think the Ropers are praying there? Could be. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, and leave me some comments. I still got no comments. I don't know if anybody likes anything. I got no likes. I see that people watch, but nobody lets me know anything. Anyways, appreciate it. You have been a dynamite audience, and you deserve to give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, sir. Oh, pardon me. Oh, my goodness. Where'd that come from? Anyways, thanks again. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless. All that jazz.